Hi everybody, I'm Diane Brady. I'm here with Admiral Rob Bauer, who is the chair of the Military Committee of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. Admiral Bauer, good to see you. You're the highest ranking military official in NATO, is that correct?
I am. It's great to be here. Talking to you, Diane.
Let's start with the basics. What is the state of NATO today in terms of, we've certainly seen threats with regard to what's happening in Europe. Give us a temperature check.
I think as a result of the war, NATO is in a much stronger position. But it started a little bit earlier. It started basically after the annexation of Crimea in 2014, when in the military, the chiefs of defense started to think about a new military strategy. And for the first time in many decades, we talked about, the thinking was based on the fact that we saw Russia and international terror groups as a threat. Mm-hmm. Russia was a partner until fairly recently, basically until the summit in Madrid, when in the new strategic concept, we now talk about Russia as a threat. So on the political level, basically 4 years later than in the military, that was sort of embraced by the political level. And it was important that we started thinking about Russia as a threat, because as a result of everything that has happened since basically 2008, when the Russians attacked Georgia, 2014 Crimea and the Donbass region, and in 2022 the rest of Ukraine, we have to refocus again on collective defense. For many decades, we were looking at, okay, there's no real threat anymore to the alliance. So then we started to look at crisis response operations, conflicts somewhere else, further away in the world. And the idea was...
As a backup? Basically NATO as a backup?
Well, the idea was the let's say the international terrorism, if you can prevent it from traveling from Afghanistan, Iraq to Europe or the United States, then that is a good thing. Keep it there. But basically, that in itself, not necessarily for all sorts of reasons, has been too successful. Probably whilst we were doing it, it was, but it wasn't enduring enough. And we now realize we have to refocus on collective defense again as a result of what is happening. Because the Russians basically have told the world they want to go back to the borders of 1997. Which means that the nations that have since then become a member of NATO would become part of a barrier around, a buffer zone around Russia. That's what Putin wants. So it is not only about Ukraine, this war. This is about going back to ambitions that are much larger than